Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kelly Sparks, aka Red Dude. So, someone commented on one of my latest videos on, I think one of my Pantera shirts. Honestly, I've had these shirts for well over 10 years now, so I have no idea where you could get them. If you didn't get them back in the day, sorry about your luck. But anyway, on to today's topic. So today I'm drinking one of the last few bottles that I found, Elijah Craig Small Batch. For those who've been following me for a while, this was actually the number 2 seed, the number 2 pick in the Dirty 30 Bourbon Blind Tasting. So it got beat out by Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And I am smoking the Diesel Rage. See that? Let's see if it'll. Yeah, maybe. So, anyway, so I got cigar.com pulled up here. I'm going to read off a little bit. I'll try to start doing this from now on. For those who want a quick synopsis of what I'm smoking. So, Diesel Rage, it has a 4 out of 5 on its profile, so it's got robust flavors, strongly flavored. It says, from wicked to delirium, Diesel mastermind and blender AJ Fernandez continues to release cigars that earn their way to the upper tier of the premium cigar world. This is certainly no easy feat, being that the Diesel Core lines are already one of the top selling, full-bodied cigars around. Yes, Diesel cigars are known for their strength, but they're also known for being incredibly well made with consistent burn and draw. So I'll have to agree with that, although there might be something wrong either with my humidor or the cigars themselves. Because I've seen every time I light up, and it could be the way I'm lighting it up, I'm not real sure, I seem to get like a bad runner on one side in comparison to the other. So I always kind of got to doctor it, light it, or burn it a little extra on the other side. So, oh well, I don't know. I think they're getting better because they don't seem to be tunneling as often, so the moisture, the humidity, and the humidor is probably getting better, so they're keeping a little better, I guess, for lack of a better word. So I'll continue. Diesel Rage is the latest in a string of successful releases. I don't really know when this was released. This could be a few years old, I'm sure. Successful releases over the past few years, and is a must try for any fan. AJ Fernandez has created yet another outstanding premium handmade using a dark and oily Ecuadorian Habano sun-grown Oscuro wrapper and a stellar concoction of Cuban seed long fillers from his farms in Nicaragua. Diesel Rage boils over with complexity and offers rich notes of cedar and spice, medium to full bodied. The onslaught of flavor and aroma is not overbearing, which is true, and is rounded out by a unique creamy finish that is also rare. That is all so rare in full-bodied blends. The cigar's performance in both construction and flavor is yet another testament, words, to AJ's persistence on quality and the Diesel brand's high stature within the cigar community. So, even though it is medium to full bodied, it's kind of pleasant to smoke. And somebody was asking the other day how, and I apologize if I miss comments and I don't reply. Don't do it on purpose. Sometimes I get busy and I forget about them, and sometimes I don't even get the notification for it. So if you don't see me comment again. Please hit me up. But somebody asked, how do I pick out a whiskey cigar pairing? Personally, it's there's people out there who probably think there's a science to it, but honestly, in my opinion, and I am a cigar novice but a whiskey professional, I personally think it's up to the person. Whatever you feel at the time, do it. I don't think you're going to have a bad outcome. Now, with that said, if you choose a lighter cigar with a heavier whiskey, the cigar might get overpowered. One piece of advice that I got recently from my friend Travis, who helps run the Smoking Aces Mobile Cigar Lounge here in East Texas, he said you should try to pair it body to body. So if it's a light-bodied cigar, find you a lighter whiskey. Whether that is a lower proof bourbon, an Irish whiskey, which most of those are fairly light, or even a light Scotch, like a Speyside or a Lowland. Now, if you're smoking something that is medium to full-bodied or heavy in their flavors, you need to adjust accordingly and go with a heavier Scotch or a heavier bourbon. Now, I will say that this one, I gotta do a little damage control. It's burning. This one, with the notes of looks like coffee and leather. And it said cedar. I do get a touch of the cedar, but what I'm doing right now, and this is what I was taught, you're starting to get them where it's kind of running on you. You see, what you do, as long as your fingers are clean, I mean, it really doesn't matter. It's your fingers, it's your mouth. Take and lick your finger, or if you have water nearby, dampen the area that is running on you faster than the rest, and it should help to slow the burning process. I think I'm gonna widen it up a little bit on the other side. So, back to the whiskey. This Diesel Rage pairs very well with this Elijah Craig. Now, this is obviously not your regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill Elijah Craig. This is still the old 12-year before they went to the no age statement. Sounds like somebody's doing some woodwork. But, yet again, even if I think, and this is opinion only, obviously, if you have a light-bodied cigar and you like heavy whiskey or a full-flavored whiskey, who am I to say not to pair it together? I mean, you can enjoy that crap all day long. But right now, these two are going together really, really nicely. So I had to get a new chair. My old chair was busted. Too much ass time. But I really like this combination. Other than and it could be my fault, the constant doctoring of the cigar to keep it burning uniformly throughout. I mean, it's really nice. I like the flavors. The bourbon and the cigar pair well together, and yeah, I wouldn't mind investing in a maybe like a Maduro or a Robusto, not a Maduro, but a Robusto in one of these. I don't necessarily like the length of time that I have to smoke on one of these. Especially if I'm sitting outside getting ate by mosquitoes. I'm also barefoot. Ah, it's my foot. So, yeah, it's really nice. Check it out. If you can't find this one, I'm sure the next, the run-of-the-mill Elijah Craig will work just fine. But if anybody's out there and you find one of these, I would suggest you pick it up because it is delicious. And if you find an extra one, please contact me immediately and I will gladly take it off your hands. But yeah, so it's good stuff. If anybody has any requests that I can try to get to or questions, hopefully I'll be able to set up a video with Travis here pretty soon. It's gonna be more of a instructional and informative type video over cigars. We'll talk about build and the breakdown and the fillers and all that good stuff and different types of knowledge that I don't have personally. Yeah, smoking nice now. Yeah. So I guess I'm just going to chill here for a little bit. Just keep smoking this. If I think of something to say, I'll say it. If not, I'm probably just going to let the video run for a minute. So, funny story. Alright. I tried to tell part of this story on the podcast recently, but idiots like to interrupt me talking. So, this weekend, it's Sunday right now, Sunday, May 19th. Well, Saturday, May 18th, was the 17-year anniversary, of the drunkest day of my life. I was still 21 years old. I'm only 38 now. I'll be 39 at the end of August. So, I was in Beaufort, South Carolina, stationed there in the United States Marine Corps at MCAS Beaufort. I was at a friend's house, and it was his birthday party. His birthday is May 18th. His name's Kerry. And every year he had a big blowout. I think it was his 30th birthday at the time. 30 or 31st, I can't remember. Either 2001 or 2002. One of those two. I'm pretty sure it was 2002. Well, we had started drinking early that day, probably around noon. And back then, I was drinking a lot of Jim Beam and Coke and Bud Light. And that's pretty much was my go-to. I would pack a flask in my back pocket and take it to the bar with me and spend $20 and have a nice buzz and leave. So that day, we're out at Carrie's. We're all drinking. He had a small pond in his front yard. He lived out in the country. Well, he had a local band playing that night. Well, for some odd reason, and this recent weather tells me that it's something that happens yearly, a cold front came through with a thunderstorm system that was attached to it, like we just had here in East Texas. And it was just, it didn't storm on us bad, but it got down to about 65 degrees that night and it was raining. Well, they had a stage built for the band that was playing outside of his shed. Well, since it was raining, they moved everything inside. The band was playing inside that night, and I was drinking heavily. Well, I was doing great, right? I was kind of just pacing myself, just maintaining my drunk, being active, whatever, eating food. Remember, I was 21, 22 years old, Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal, hoorah, and we're out drinking. Well, next thing I know, a friend of mine, Michael, walked up to me with a mason jar, about a 32-ounce mason jar, with about yay much liquid left in the bottom of it. So I can only assume it was 4 to 6 ounces of clear liquor that had some peaches off in it. Well, he looked at me and he was like, "Hey, Sparky, take a drink." Me being the overachiever that I am, I grabbed the jar and just went and finished off the rest of said liquid. Well, he looked at me in disbelief and amazement and was like, "Oh shit." And from that point on, the night was a blur. I blacked out shortly after. But the stories that came from said blackout is the funny part. So apparently, and mind you, whatever I tell you right now, it's all going to be hearsay, secondary. I was told that I got into a fight. Me and some friends got into a brawl with some other guys that were there. And I didn't have any marks on my face, so I guess I did okay. I ended up punching a bunch of stuff. Punched out a taillight on a car. I did some other things. Fell off the stage on top of a girl. Sandwiched her between myself and a mud pile. So I finally ended up saying, to hell with this. The last thing I do remember, I had a brief moment of clarity. Went to my truck, crawled off inside, and just went to sleep. And it was probably around 1 in the morning at this time. So I'd been drinking for the better part of 12 hours. Well, I wake up, and it's like 4 in the morning. There's still people up partying. The band had just quit playing. I walk inside the house, and one of the girls there, she looked over at me as soon as I walked in, and she was like, "Oh my God, what did you do to your arm?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I looked down at my right arm, and it's completely covered in dried blood. I think it was mine, but I had blood from knuckles to elbow, all the way around my arm. And I had like a bunch of scrapes on my forearm. I had a gash across my palm. My knuckles were all busted open. So apparently I was just hammering away at something. But anyway, I don't know what happened. The next morning, I get up to help Carrie do some cleanup. We go outside, picking up cans, trash, whatnot. And the stage that they had built, they had light poles on each side. Well, connected to those light poles were 2x4s that were nailed into the light pole, and they were nailed into wooden stakes that were in the ground just for support. Well, one of those supports was knocked off and laying on the ground. And Kerry and I walk up, and he was like, "Man, somebody must have hit that damn thing hard. I nailed it in pretty good." And there was like 3 or 4 nails on each end. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Somebody must have hit it hard." Well, then next Monday at work, talking with a friend of mine who I kind of hung out with that night, and we were just shooting the shit all night. And I told him about it. Told him about the support of the light pole. Said, "Yeah, man, we were out cleaning up. Saw the light pole." Kerry commented like, "Man, somebody must have hit that thing hard." I was like, "Yeah, somebody must have just ran into it." He looked at me with a dead stare, and he's like, "Dude, you punched that thing off." I was like, "Oh shit, no wonder my hand's fucking swollen." Oh god. Yeah. Well, I don't do that any stuff anymore. I don't do that kind of stuff. Too old for it. Too old to be punching inanimate objects. So, if you didn't know, if you can see it right there, I have a scar from punching those punching bag games. You hit it, the bag swings up. One time I stepped in too far. After I hit the bag, I punched the face of the machine, and the machine itself was bolted to the ground. Well, after I hit it, my hand went numb, and I turned around and I looked at my buddy, and throughout this whole process was like 2 seconds after I hit it. Mean Gene was standing right behind me. So I punched it, turned around, looked at him, kind of wiggled my fingers a little bit. I was like, "All right, my hand's not broke." So I turned my wrist like this, and I felt the bones of this radius bone just go, and my heart sank. Fuck. So I looked at him. He's like, "Yeah, you rocked it." I was like, "I think my arm's broke." He just goes, "Huh?" So yeah, ended up breaking my arm. See my little scar? Broke my arm. I had to get a titanium plate and 8 screws put in it. So, needless to say, I don't punch anything harder than a punching bag anymore. Try not to punch anybody in the face. That's a fucking hammer. Anyway. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. We're looking at almost like 20 some odd minutes now. So, check out Diesel Rage. If you can find it, check out Elijah Craig, old 12-year. And check out Tattered Beans and the Bearded Idiots. Have a good time. Like always, folks, drink some whiskey, smoke a cigar, share that shit with your friends and family. Don't punch anybody in the face who doesn't deserve it. And y'all have a nice day. Take care.